Sukrat, we can go live. How does one go live? I have no idea how to do that.
I think we're already live, sir.
Oh, okay. Live started. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. If you're in India, good afternoon. If you're elsewhere, good day. This is a session. This is our first live session of design thinking, and this is going to be focused on responding to questions, responding to whatever you're finding it difficult, if you're finding it easy, whatever we will try to find out, or if you have longer term questions, or if you have shorter term questions, if you have questions specific to this particular course, then this is the session. Purpose of this session is that we try to answer your question, respond to your queries, whether it is in the discussion. Some of them we try to answer the discussion forum question on the discussion forum itself. However, if they are very important, if it's recurring, then we bring it up here also in the live session. Okay. So before I hand it over to Sukrat, one point about exams is that we will talk about exams, a dedicated live session around exams. At the end, I think the third live session, somewhere in September 15, if I'm not wrong, that's when we do a dedicated session on exams. So it doesn't mean you'd have to stop yourself from asking exam-related questions. We will, yes, of course, give you the short answer, but if you want the long, full answer, which is focused on the exams, September 15th is the session for that. So with that, over to you, Sukrat. You're our MC, Master Ceremony, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. I'm Sukrat. Who you were just listening to was Dr. Balaram Durai, your main professor for design thinking, the primer. And along with me is Sham. He is another teaching assistant for this course. And welcome to the session. I hope so far what you've learned in design thinking and what you've practiced so far has been beneficial, and this discussion that we do also is pretty fruitful for you. So we have received a lot of questions from the Google response sheet that was circulated to you before this live started. So we have a set of your questions and things that we should probably answer. So we've made a list of them in this presentation itself. And Sham, if possible, if you have access to those, the recent ones still need to be added. So I've added a few, or you can add the rest of them while we answer the ones that are present in the presentation right now. Okay, moving on. Okay, so this book you might have seen either in the course or somewhere in the supplementary area, or if you were looking up Professor Bala anywhere online. So this is a book published by him. It's called Karmic Design Thinking. It talks about a lot of correlations of teachings of Lord Buddha, and they correlated with the 4 modules EAST, that is Empathize, Analyze, Solve, and Test. You can find these books on Flipkart, on Amazon, Pothi, and there are a couple of more websites hosting this. So you will be able to very easily find them and order them, and probably get them in less than a week to yourself. And there's a website for professors' work. So you can just go at balaramudare.net and you will find a lot of content related to design thinking there also. Anyway, so should I just jump to the questions? Yeah, okay. So Veeta Jaswini has asked us, what is design thinking? And I think this is like a super important question for us to answer. So I think we should go take the lead.
Okay, so this is the most basic question, but still an important question, as Sukrat just said. I think of design thinking as a way to look at how products and services that we use all around us, how are they, how are they improved? How are they even, how do they exist, first of all, right? So that's the core of design thinking, which is the products and services around us. So I have a pen drive here. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. A pen drive, USB pen drive. Okay, for it, you can take any product or service. I'm just taking this one because it's right next to me. Okay, so this product right here with me is how are we going to improve it? Okay, there are two ways to do that, and later you will see it's two sides of the same coin. How are we going to actually improve the usage of this pen drive that I have with me? One, you could look at it and say, oh, what else can I improve in this? Perhaps its storage capacity, its speed, its availability in many colors, its compatibility with many other devices. So this is what we call as product-centered thinking. Or if it's a service, it's a teaching service or a petrol, filling service, it's a service that you are trying to enhance service-centric approach or a product-centric approach. This is one way to do it. Okay. The second way, however, is who is using this product a lot? Oh, a student, let's say in 10th standard in a school. Okay, this guy is this guy uses this a lot for taking his notes and getting it printed, or his classmates' notes and getting it printed. Okay, that's what he uses it. Oh, now how do I improve that for him, for this particular person? And so you think of, oh, if he's a 10th standard person and he loses it in school, how is he going to retrieve it? Now, there's a problem there. You want to solve that. Oh, if he is going to give it to somebody and he wants it back, how do I get that back? Is another problem I have with this product, right? So now the problem is all from this person's point of view. And that is called human-centered design or human-centric approach. And that's the core of design thinking, is to look at any product or service and see who are, in this case, I took one person, but it could be many people. You can consider many people like that and look at their perspective on how they use your product or service and improve their experience for them. Okay, that's the core of design thinking. Now, how you do it is what the course is all about, right? There are 4 weeks of this, and you've seen Siddharth and company work on a particular case to give you a good flavor of how to do this. But that's the next part. Why do we need design thinking? Is that we are trying to make human lives better by not looking at the product that they use, but their life and how the product fits in. Okay, so why did I say it's one and the same if you start with product or with humans? I said it's two sides of the same coin. Why did I start off by saying that? Well, products modify human behavior, and human behavior modifies a product design. Okay, so this actually goes cyclical. And that's why you start with a product centered approach. You will need to have a human-centered approach as well. And if you're starting with a human-centered approach, you will need to look at the product design as well. So it goes back and forth. And that's what is important. In design thinking, our focal point, our main emphasis, the starting point, is the human being who's using this product or service. Okay, so that in condensed form is what design thinking is. How we do it is the 4 steps that we've seen in this course. Empathize, which is put yourself in that shoes of that 10th standard student and see how he uses the pen drive. Okay, that is empathize. Then we say, okay, I've understood it from his point of view, but now I have to see what is the root cause of what are his problems. Why does he keep losing his pen drive? How come it's true? Classmates are not returning the pen drive. Okay, we go into the root cause analysis. We use tools for that. Then we find out, okay, what's the conflict in that particular root cause. Why is it not solved yet? Okay, so that kind of a questioning that gets you to conflict of interest in the analysis phase. So the second phase was analysis. Once you get to through the analysis, you can start coming up with ideas. Oh, I'll have a big like a handle like this where I can attach a name tag, and all that you start doing, you can generate ideas. And that is the solve part of it. Once you solve it, you still not change the product. So you need to see what the change product looks like. And that's why we need the test. So you make a prototype of it, little tag to it, and give it to this 10th standard student and see how he handles that. He'll probably tear it in a day. Okay, oh, that's an important feedback I learned, that it needs to be really sturdy. If it goes inside a school bag and comes out very, very regularly, it goes into other people's school bags and comes out regularly. How should it be? It should be very, very sturdy. You start collecting all these list of features, and so on and so on, right? So you had empathize, we had analyze, we had solve, and then we had tested it out, and then we're back to empathize again. So it's cyclical in nature. Okay, so this is what design thinking is all about. Okay, so that's my trial. If there are any subsequent questions, I would love to hear that. Sukrat, you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, I'm shifting to the next slide, sir.
Sure.
Can this course provide a forum for at least some learners to present their actual work on design thinking?
Oh, this is a superb question. Thank you so much, Dr. Pratima, for this question. When we started recording this course way back in 2018, when I had the request and the good fortune of meeting Professor Andrew, and he said, we need this course in our portfolio. We need to have design thinking. My first objection to that was, hey, this is a very, very hands-on practical course. How can we put it on online like that and expect people to work on it? How do we get the practical aspect of it? So to that, his cool response was, oh, you follow it up with a workshop. That's the way you sort of take the learning, ask people to take the learning from the online course and apply that in a workshop. So this has been our sort of way to handle this, is take the learning from the online part of it and apply this in a workshop that we conduct. But you don't have to wait for us to host this workshop so that you can take your ideas and start working on it. But you can do that by yourself. So, which is another stress that we always try to do in this part of in this course. So, can you apply it yourself and see it work for yourself? So that's the main emphasis here, is to take these the learning from this course. Look around yourself. It could be your area of work, your workplace, or it could be a place of your study. It could be your home. Look around and see whom you want to really, really help, make a difference. Okay, start there. Take these learning from week after week. Do the empathize. Analyze what the problem is. Solve them. Make a prototype. Go to your customer and see if it really works. It could be a person at home. It could be a person in your school or college. It could be a person in your place of work. Apply this and see how it pans out. Okay. And now document your experiences, and please do let us know in our discussion forum. One way to do that. Two is to reach out to any of us. Sukrat kindly shared our details on chat.
Sam already did, yeah.
Yes, he already did that. LinkedIn, we are there on LinkedIn, or you can use my email address, Bala, B-A-L-A, that's my name, at Bala Ramadurai, that's my full name, .net. So if you just email me, I'll be happy to look through. If you need any help, definitely I can help you with that. So these are some ways to showcase your work on what where you have applied this methodology and you've been able to successfully finish at least one iteration of this empathize, analyze, solvent test. So we'll be very, very happy to do that. Now, if you're looking for cases where people have applied it, you learn best when you see others work. One case is already a part of our course. Siddharth and co actually went through all the phases and showed it to you as much as possible on camera. Or you could go on the internet and look up design thinking case studies, and you will be able to find out more cases also. So that's something you could do as well. Okay. So the discussion forum, to summarize, to summarize discussion forum, you can present your work there. The workshop that we are going to host, I think it's in October. So we would welcome all of you to apply for that workshop so that you can be part of it. That's another forum. And the third, if you're saying, okay, I'm not going to work on it, I need to learn it first and then I'm going to present it, then it can be you can present it, you can look it up on the internet and learn that yourself. So those are 3 ways to do that. So thank you so much for
wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Am I permitted to say something?
Please go ahead. Yes.
Thank you. Actually, why I asked this question was that very recently our patent was granted this very year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And my area is food technology, and it was primarily on food safety, where we're trying to work with, again, consumer and what you're just talking so beautifully in the week 1 itself on empathizing. So that comes from science to society. That's the concept which I try to work with me and my students. So we wanted that can we do a kind of very simple kit, a testing kit, where our food which we're trying to eat, we can't wait for the lab to test and tell, yeah, this is safe or what. So we have developed a concept where the food can be tested on the microbial safety, especially on the human pathogens, within 6 minutes. It's bioelectronics principle which we have tried. And that was something which I was trying to completely correlate while this course is going on. And that's another my interest to take this course as a professor myself. So it's going pretty good. Let me tell you, interim feedback. There are 2 weeks where we have submitted the assignments. And as a teacher, it's always good to learn with our own students. That's the thing I'm into, Bala, to share with you and your team.
Thank you so much.
I have written in my feedback also the way you have narrated creatively, the team, your students, 4 of them. I know it is a rerun course right now, but the way it has been done, we can connect it so much. And the way you pass the baton to your students to also share. Awesome. Double thumbs up to both of you and the team. That's what I think.
For your kind words, and we would love to know the workings of your project. If you are allowed to share that, we'd definitely love to know, because this serves as an inspiration for other learners, students who are looking for such. Food technology is so dear to us. I mean, it's so fundamental to us that we definitely love to hear about it. Please do share. Can.
And I just hosted my own workshop in NPTEL Plus last July.
Okay.
With Karthik. Yeah, it was nice. Karthik Vaidyanathan from Mechanical Department in IIT Madras.
Yeah, please do get in touch with us.
Please, I would.
Very interesting. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the next question, is my screen visible, sir?
Yes, Sukrat.
Okay. So Ankita Paul asks, what skills design thinking actually builds?
Okay. There are quite a few, but I will start with what I learned so that then we can build on what else can be built upon. So one of the things that I find very, very interesting and different from other problem-solving methodologies is the first step, the empathize part. So many of us, many of you are already blessed with this skill of thinking about what other people are going through from their point of view. It's an important skill to have, and many of you are already blessed with that. So lucky you. I am not one of those, so it was very tough for me to see that from other person's point of view. It was very, very difficult for me, and I found that design thinking is one of those methods which actually can help you train those empathetic skills. It is a skill to be built. So initially I thought either you're born with that or not. So that's what I assumed, but apparently it can be built. It can be, you can train yourself in thinking about this as you do more, you get better at this. So one of the most important skills that one could develop as part of design thinking is the empathy. This is squarely the one of the key factors and one of the most important skills that I have benefited a lot from. Okay. Of course, you'll have to check with people near and dear to me if that's really the case. Am I more empathetic than before? That's for you to find out from my people around me. On by and large, people have told me, yes, I can see the change. Okay, so that's one skill. Empathy definitely improves. The other part that I find exciting is the analysis and the solution. So together, it's again the two sides of one coin. So the more you analyze a problem, the more you know about what your customer is going through, not only from empathy, watching them, observing them, but also when you apply your own mind to it and try to unearth something that is not being said, that is the key. So the more time you spend with a problem and trying to get to know what the problem really is, which is what we do. We spend a lot of time on analysis. Even in our workshops, we give it at least a full day of analysis. It is a lot of effort, a lot of energy has to go in. However, at the end of the day, it is really worth it because you get a complete understanding of what the situation is really about. Then, of course, is the candy at the end of all that hard work, which is your solve. You generate ideas. If you're skilled at creating new ideas for any problem, good for you. If not, of course, we have introduced the idea of trees. I don't think you're there yet. In the third week, we talk about trees, which is a interesting brain hack to help you solve any problem you want and wake you up in the middle of the night. You'll be able to generate ideas at will. So these are a few tricks that you can pick up, and that's another skill that you will learn in this version of design thinking also. Of course, there's prototyping skill, that is putting your ideas into shape and form that you can interact with, your customers can interact with, your team can interact with. That's the fourth skill that you will learn. So to summarize, empathy skills, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, watching the whole world from their point of view. That's the first and most important skill in our workshop. The second one is sort of club analysis part of it. That is, the more time you spend with the problem, the more insights you get, the better your understanding of the problem at large becomes. So that's analytical skills that you develop. Third is creativity. If you're blessed already, great. But if not, you can use some of the hacks from brain hacks, as I call it, from the TRIZ toolkit. And finally, put your ideas into a shape and form. That's the fourth skill that you can really build upon. Okay. So in empathy, one is, of course, putting yourself in there. Also, how to interact with strangers, because not all the time will you be interacting with people that you know. You will be interacting with people that you don't know. So this is another skill that you will pick up for sure. So there's that too. But to me, that if you can even influence 2 or 3 people that you know, you made their life better, nothing like it. So that's where I would that's why this is in the last sort of set. Okay, that's my trial to answer your question, Ankita. If again any of these questions, if you feel that, oh, I did not get what he said in this part, please feel free to use the discussion forum, or if you're logged in and this is your question, please feel free to follow up with on chat. We'd be happy to sort of respond to that.
Thank you, sir. If there are questions or add-on to this question specifically, you can put it in your put it in the chat box. There are a couple of comments in the live section, in the comment section, that I will touch upon right after this.
Okay.
For now, we can switch to the next question.
Sure.
Yeah. Can design thinking principles and methodology be used in destination branding in tourism? Same question continues. Can design thinking tools like empathy mapping be applied in tourism for designing better experiences?
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't see this here. Is it only my screen or?
No. Wait. I'm sorry. Is it better now?
Yes. Now I see. Correct. I thought it was my screen now. Yeah, I can see this question. So I'll take the question on the left first, and then probably take the second one later. I think they're related. That's why I put them in.
They're the same person, same question, just divided into two.
Okay. So the answer is, of course, yes, it can be used in tourism. One of the things, before I respond to that particular specific question, I'd like to say that design thinking is a construct or a methodology designed particularly to help you with the sort of guide you towards a solution that will satisfy the needs of unsaid or said needs of your user. Okay, so it's let's put it this way: industry or domain agnostic, which means it works everywhere. It works with any kind of people. It works with any kind of domain. I myself have experience helping people with problems in HR, human resources, finance, management folks, technologists, school children, teachers, you name it. Probably they've been part of my workshop, and it is college students. It probably helped them. This works all across domains, all across disciplines, and it does not really differentiate between one domain or the other. It's not favorable or partial if you are in that particular domain. It's a thinking methodology designed to guide you towards a solution for your target user. Now, this specific question of destination branding in tourism, the answer is yes, if you can use it. First of all, you have to imagine, who is this tourist? Where are my tourists coming from? So just look around and see one of your target customers, a tourist possibly. Okay, so it could be a tourist, it could be a tourist guide. I'm thinking it's destination branding. So I'm thinking people who are researching about going to a particular place, or you're in the tourism ministry or tourism, you have a hotel, it can be several things that you want to do. So look at it as, first is, who is the one that we are targeting, and for what purpose are we doing this activity? Okay, are you looking to enhance the destination branding for your city, for your hotel, for an attraction even? So think about what is the purpose, and then come to who is your target user. So research that, and then start observing how they interact with your service or product. Okay, that's going to be the key in determining the empathy part of it, right? So you need to go really deeper into who is this, and what are they trying to do with your what is the activity involved in that they're trying to accomplish. For example, are they trying to check into a hotel? Are they trying to book a hotel? Are they trying to book a cab or a vehicle to go around a city? What is it that they are trying to accomplish, and how are they doing it currently? Now, you want to be as if you are that other person. You don't want to come up with saying, okay, this is how I offer the service, and this is how they go through it. No, look at it from their point of view. That's the key in this, is trying to get a sense of how is it that they do this particular activity in your interacting with your product or service. That's going to be one of the key things that you will have to do. And Sukrat, I think you'll move to the next slide.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
In fact, I have a couple of things to add onto this, since
oh, please, yes,
tourism and marketing are something that I deal with properly. So I'll give you an example, actually a set of examples. So if you check upon Melbourne tourism, or specifically Australia's tourism, what they do is they have already identified the reason why people would go there and live there. So there was a marketing campaign that they did for Melbourne tourism and Australia tourism, was to specifically focus on the jobs that people can take up while when they are going to Australia. So the way they've modified their entire pitch is to show that there is a job for everybody, and there are, you know, vocational opportunities, there are earning opportunities there through and through for any outside person coming to Australia. Similar to that would be if you want to target, like specifically focus on how you're branding your specific destination. More recent example, if you watch the IPL matches, is the Visit Saudi ads that are going on right now. So again, they've empathized with what exactly is a tourist looking for in a destination, and they've pressed upon the fact that there is practically everything to do. So you won't get bored of just shopping. There are there are shopping opportunities, there are places to visit, there are things to experience, there are things to eat. All of those they have categorically marketed specifically in their latest ad campaign. So that is something that you'll probably be doing. How exactly is design thinking working there is you understand what exactly is the customer looking for, and then you push or probably develop that sort of an opening in your destination so it caters to their requirements. That's all.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think spot on. It's a great example. This also ties to the next question of what he said, what Sukrat just said, is when we are trying to design better experiences. This is what Sukrat was talking about. This is the customer journey mapping, as we call it. Empathy mapping, as I understand it, is more emotions also involved in it. It's more rigorous than customer journey mapping. What are we trying to do in this? We are trying to extract customer stories so that we can look at what are some experiences that are going very well right now. Okay, the fact that somebody walks into a door, the door automatically opens, for example, in a hotel, that's a elevating experience, right? For them, they've just walked into this is very nice. So you don't want your solution to give up on that. So you want to find out those delighter points that are already there. And then they walk up to the desk, there's somebody smiling at you. That's a great plus also. You actually interacting with another human being, and you just exchange smiles. And I've noticed that in some hotels, they see if it's really hot outside, they give you a cool drink. They offer you a welcome drink, as they call it, right? That's a small touch. And because you've had a really long journey and you're there, and this is a small and you've been out there in the hot sun, and this is something that has enhanced your experience. So somebody actually put themselves and say, hey, what would I need if I just walked out from hot sun and I'm trying to enter this check-in into this hotel? So that's where it starts, in thinking about what their experience looks like, and design the experience exactly, right? So, and then clear signs as where your hotel room is. One thing that I've read somewhere is if you have a solo lady traveler, then you never announce the room number loudly, because that's security. Okay, I never paid attention to that early on, that hotels never did that. I read this in the book, and then I started noticing that this is true. Whenever you find a solo lady traveler, they never announce the hotels that I've been to, they never announce the person's room out loud, because that's a security concern. So those are little subtle things that somebody did empathy mapping or customer journey mapping and found out that this is what the customer needs, and how do we make their experience better. So great question. Thank you so much for that. Hopefully this has given you an opening into understanding design thinking from the tourism and branding perspective as well.
Thank you, sir. So the next question, I hope there's not a lot of disturbance from my end. So the next question is scope of design thinking in digital era. For example, schools are becoming high-tech with digital classrooms. Students have tablet loaded with apps. Just a second. Even we travel using the GMAP. So how will humans use design thinking to solve problems when all is a click away?
Okay, kick away. I guess he's talking about a click away. Maybe, I don't know. I think that digital. I am personally very excited about the fact that digital era is evolving at a very, very rapid pace, and it's making a lot of changes in a positive manner. However, we would still need to maintain the fact that these are all technologies at the service of the human being using it. Okay, whether it is a student in a classroom, or whether it's a driver using a map application, or whether it is a person trying to find the answer to some question that they don't know answers to, whatever be the uses, you need to firmly establish that it is the human being that needs to be catered to. That finally all this is at the service of a human being, okay, or human beings. Okay, many people are involved here. Okay, so looking at the classroom part, let's start with the first part of the question, which is the classroom part. So these smart classrooms are not very smart if it doesn't address all of the types of students that are present there, right? It can be smart for the best student maybe, but what is it doing for the child who is not keeping pace? One of the examples I do in Solve is this distracted student. So you can have the best classrooms in the world, but if your classroom is not catering to the different types of students that are there in the classroom, your smart classroom needs to be improved. So that's a design thinking problem right there. Okay, so for that, it's not a click away, it's not a kick away. It is a long, painstaking process to empathize with that child in that classroom, trying to identify what is going on with that child, how is he or she able to cope up or not cope up with the advances in the classroom, right? So we think that, oh, an app will make people smarter, but we don't know that. Right? We need to find that out for ourselves by doing that. The child is not going to come and walk up to you and say, oh, this is not working for me. That's going to be a very, very rare situation. So here is where I would like to share that customers are like babies. Okay, users are like babies. Okay, babies who are less than a year old, they don't talk much. They only cry when they have a problem. Right. So all we can infer from our users, whether it is a child in a classroom or a driver behind a Google map or any other problem we can think of, customers never, there are very, very tiny fractions. Apart from that, customers never actually voice out their problems so much that you actually know what the real problem is. So we have to infer what is going on, what's really going on from their point of view. So this is why design thinking is very, very relevant even in a digital setup like this. In fact, digital setups like this became human friendly because of the fact that the designers of these apps continually interacted with real human beings and found more solutions, more problems, and hence more solutions to that. Right. I remember the first time I used a mapping application. It gave me a very, very circuitous route, and I wondered who is this designing this. This was years ago. Then later, I realized it got better because there were a lot of human feedback also. You and I can actually go to Google Map is a trademark that is mentioned here. You and I can go to Google Map and suggest corrections, and that is noted and corrected by people who are like you and me. I'm a local guide on Google Map also. I have the authority to say yes, it is a correct correction that somebody has given. So that's how products evolve, through human input and through human understanding. All the technology what they can do is help us with this. So we can use technology to make our lives better. So that's my response to this, saying yes, technology is amazing because we can use them, but however, the human being is going to be right at the center of it all.
Thank you, sir. So I'll switch to the next slide then.
Sure.
How do we decide the optimum solution? For example, number of nodes versus time spent in the example. Like this, for every problem, there may be some optimum number x-axis which yields optimum benefits y-axis from Vijay Kumar.
Wow, there's a lot of optimums there. Okay. Okay, thank you for that question. So the solution has to be a resolution of the conflict that you have arrived at analyze. So that's the basic criteria that your solution has to meet. That's the first one. Okay. So when you have analyzed the problem using multi-whys and you found the root cause, and then you found out that, oops, there is a conflict right here. I need to resolve that. So the conflict is, I need let's say a drone. Okay, I need let's take this example. It's a number of nodes versus time spent. So if I have a lot of nodes, then I'm going to be spending a lot of time, which is bad, right? But if I spend less time, which is what I desire, okay, the number of nodes also have to be low. That's a contradiction when it comes to the number of nodes versus the time spent. I want the number of nodes to be very high. However, I want the time spent to be as low as possible. If possible, no time at all. Okay. So this is the ideal solution. Okay. That it should have very, very low time spent. It's not optimal. So optimal solution, the problem with optimal solution or compromise solution is somewhere in between. You give instead of 100 nodes, you have 50 nodes, and instead of an hour spent, you have half an hour spent. This is a very, very weak solution with respect to design thinking. So optimization has its place. However, in design thinking, we always look at having the cake and eating it too. So we want the maximum number of nodes while keeping the time to be as minimum as possible. The lower, the better. If you have done your empathize study well, you will and you realize that the student shouldn't spend time on analyzing these nodes. They should get that right. So this is where the solution should be headed towards. So your job as a design thinker is to look at this contradiction and see which of these solutions actually solves for the problem. Maximum number of nodes, minimum time. Okay, as maximum as possible number of nodes, and as minimum as possible the time. If you have two solutions, you have come up with two ideas. Okay, one is a summary which is going around written by a student. Okay, so summary is something that you want other students to sort of do that. It's not an optimal solution. It's a summary which is just one node. It's a minimum. So 100 nodes, yes, but it's been summarized into one node. And to read that takes minimal time. Great, that's one solution. Two is the teacher herself gives the summary of these 100 nodes into let's say an executive summary kind of a thing with a one pager. Okay, so that's your second solution, right? Now you take these solutions, I'm just making this up, okay? This is not a real solution. So if these two solutions, You need to see from the customer point of view, which is your student, number of notes versus the time spent. How is it that they are able to gain in this with the student summary or the teacher summary? Okay, you will see that, oh, he's spending more time trying to understand the student because the student has their own perspective in it, whereas the teacher has been doing this for a while, so they made it much easier for the student to understand. So the time spent is even lower when it comes to, so that is a better solution. I'm not saying that is the solution that's going to stay forever. No, you can always keep improving solutions. So you need to come up with as many ideas and see, but always keep examining. You need the maximum number of notes with minimum time spent. That's going to be a contradiction that needs to be resolved. Okay, so that was my trial. Don't try to compromise by saying 50 notes at half an hour. That's not a good idea. If that is one solution you have, you need to, which direction is to make it better. That's the idea of the iterations also. Okay. Thank you for that question again.
So now we have a question from Sanju. We just talked to her. So my research is about designing a circular process for medicine waste minimization deploying DT approach. How feasible is the methodology for proposing the process design?
Okay, so without knowing much about the details of the course, I'm going to take a part shot at this, trying to answer this question. So process, when you have a process like this, medicine waste minimization, think about the stakeholders who are involved. So the DT approach, design thinking approach, talks about who are the stakeholders, who are the customers, who are the users of this methodology. It's not about the process or the service or the product is at the service of people who are using this approach. Okay, without people being benefited out of this, it could be the eventual, I don't know, in a clinic, it could be at a hospital who are dealing with this process, or it could be the people who are actually doing the process of waste handling, or it is the administrator who is looking at it saying, hey, how much waste have we tried to reduce using this? So look at this process from these three perspectives. So this is what I could come up with the question that you've written here. Can you look at what is their journey today look like, and how do they interact with the process? Okay, what does their story look like when they interact with this particular process or machine or product, whatever be it? Okay, or they're just providing a service. What does their story look like? Each of those. So these are three personas: the administrator, the hospital, the people who are there in the hospital who are probably handling it, and who was the third one? I forget. Use different stakeholders in this process and see what their journey looks like, what their story looks like, and then you will have a list of problems that you can generate from those stories. Okay, once you have the list of problems, try to analyze using the analyze phase, the multi-whys. Why do they have this problem? Why are they not able to see how much of waste has been processed? Why are they not able to process so much of waste in this particular amount of time? So figure that out from each of these perspectives, and then come up to the conflict. If there are any conflicts, why are they not able to solve this? Why are they not able to move on with this? So find this, be very curious at this stage, and generate the problem statements that you have to solve. And once you solve them, you can come back and look at the process and say, this looks like these people have these problems, and like to refine the process this way. I can propose these design changes. That's your prototype. So once you have a proposal to modify this process, you can't stop there. You need to check with these process stakeholders who interact with the process and see if the story becomes better or worse. If it becomes worse, you're going the wrong way. If it's in fact, with multiple stakeholders like this, you might encounter something interesting, which is, say, the administrator versus the person who is actually involved in the process may have a conflict also. The person wants to process very quickly, whereas the other person wants to spend more time on processing it. It'll become very similar to the previous question. Now we have a conflict. I want to spend more time so that it's done properly. But I want it to be minimal because this is a lot of tedium, there's a lot of effort involved, and you want to reduce it. Now that's a contradiction, and you can use that to solve and put it back into the processing. Hey, this is how we can improve the process. So it's all about first finding out the stakeholders, what their perspective, what their stories look like, get the list of problems, analyze it, get the contradiction, solve it. Okay, so in short, you can actually improve the process and propose this as a new design. It'll involve you figuring out from many points of view.
Sir, a quick query. Sir, in the empathize stage, can it be a theory-driven approach? Like a behavioral theory or something like that?
So meaning what? You're not going to interact with people, you're going to sit back and see what it looks like?
No, interacting, maybe can I make it empirical, like a qualitative, then we can get their opinions in the empathize?
Sure. So your process improvement will also be theoretical or empirical. It may not be based on reality. So you will have to check it. Yes, I agree with you. Sometimes it's not feasible to do this on the field. So you could start with doing it empirically, having your own versions of the stories of these people who are interacting with the process. However, at some stage, you will have to go and get it validated, whether this is what they are going through from their point of view as well. At some stage, you will have to do that. Did I answer your question, Sanju?
Yes, sir. But definitely I will write back to you, sir, because I have more questions.
Sure, please do. Please do. Thanks. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, sir.
No, sir. So we have a lot of questions. Actually, we're running out of time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We'll touch
So
upon as much
one
as
thing before we start, Subrat, there's no need to hurry this. If you have more questions and we have not answered it in this live session, we will make it a point to take it up in the next live session, or we will also answer it in the discussion forum if you have already posted there or something like that. We will make sure that all the questions are answered. That's for sure. Yeah, Sukrat, go ahead.
Okay, so this is a regular question that we get. Before attending the course, what I learned is that design thinking process has a 5-step: empathize, and define, ideate, prototype, and test. But in this course, what I'm learning is 4 steps. Can you explain how I make the difference?
Sure. Yes. So let's look at this itself. We don't have to go far for the answer. The answer is in the question itself. So you look at empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Okay. So empathize is empathize. No difference in that. So what we call in our course as empathize is what Stanford or IDEO also calls it as empathize. This, by the way, this methodology is was derived by Stanford D School in collaboration with IDEO, the organization. Okay, so empathize, stage 1, step 1, that's what it is. Second one, they call it define. Now, what could define do? Let's think about it. I think they will define a problem. That's what they do in the second stage. Hey, wait a second. Analyze also does that, right? So define is equivalent to analyze. So that's what they do in define. Now, ideate. Ideate strangely sounds like you're generating ideas. And that's exactly what we do in solve. That's the third phase. Okay. Now, in the fourth phase, in our methodology in this course, we talk about test alone. But in test, we say that we want to put ideas into reality, and that is prototyping. We certainly, when you hit week 4, you will see that we talk about prototyping in there as well. And then test. What is test? Prototyping, after prototyping, you take it to your target customer and see what their reaction looks like. Okay. So which is empathize of the next round, which I felt that is not so different from actually empathize. So testing is overlapping with the empathize of the next cycle. So that's how we have envisaged it here, and that's why we have only 4 steps. So empathize, define, ideate, and prototype are empathize, analyze, solve, and test in our methodology. And the last part of test ties back to the empathize of the next iteration of this method. So there is, in short, there is not much different. In fact, there's no difference. Except that in the Stanford methodology, define is, I think, a very quick step. Here, we try to spend a lot of time with the problem and try to understand it before we move on to solve. Because we want to solve the ideas to be very, very precise, because we don't, usually in many cases, we don't have a lot of resources. We don't have a lot of time available, overall, not at a day level perspective, but from an overall perspective. So we want to make the cycle time shorter. So we try to understand the problem very, very well before we can generate ideas for it. So we pause on that. So that's I hope that sort of answers your question. I did write a blog post on this. If I can find that out, I will definitely get back to you. Oh yeah, I have this here. I got it. Surprisingly, I was quick. This is on my website, and I have answered this question. In case you want to find more answers to frequently asked questions, I run a series called Ask the DT Doc. That's the series I used to run. I think the last time I wrote was a few years ago. A few months ago. I will get back to that. So this is the series. I have pasted the link on the chat. It's balaramudare.net/series/ask-the the letters DT -doc doc. So this is a whole bunch of series of questions that people like yourselves have asked in the past. And I said, oh, wait a second, this requires a lot more patient treatment. You can look at it.
Thank you. So the next question we have with us is, are there any particular steps or important information to be collected for doing design thinking, or every question has a different approach to it?
Okay, this, I guess you're talking about empathize alone. Usually the forming of questions and all that, a collection of information, all that appears in the empathize part of it. Now, it is a good practice to collect information about whom we are going to interact with. The empathize part of it, you can look at it from who are the target customers, what is their background look like, what does their profile look like. Ahead of time is a good idea to do that. That's one. Two is we can also frame a few questions so that we can guide the conversation to what we are trying to extract out of our observation. So those are two guidelines with respect to doing this design thinking field study, particularly in field study in empathize. This will be helpful. But the warning from field study experience is that don't go with a clipboard and a big survey with lots and lots of questions, because it becomes it usually comes in the way of you connecting with your target audience. They have to feel comfortable enough that they are talking about stuff that they're not so comfortable using your product or service. Best way, of course, is to observe them interacting with the product or service. If that can't be possible, like the previous person who asked the question, Sanju, she said, oh, it's very difficult for me to go to the field. Can I do it without going there? So that's the extreme side of it. But there's a middle path, which is, okay, I can't possibly find out what the person, how they use the service or the product, but I can interact with them through video calls or phone calls. Now, how do I get the information out of them? So one of the ways in which you can do this is to extract stories of how do they do this. What would they describe as a process in which they interact with your product or service? Okay, you can ask them to describe what it looks like, so that you can note down that. That's a story of usage. Then you can ask them what is the worst experience they've had with the product or experience. Ask them to narrate a story. When was the last time they had that experience and what did it turn out to? Okay, that's the second question you could possibly ask. A third possible thing could be, what is the best experience you've had, an unexpected delight feature that you saw in this product or service, and what was it like? And you can ask them to narrate a story around it. So the key is to extract stories so that we can make sense of it and make and you need unfortunately you have to do it for every persona, that every person that you interact with, you need to be doing this. So in terms of preparation, you need to know who to summarize, in terms of preparation, you need to know who is it that you're interacting with. So do a little bit of background search. Then have a few questions just to serve as a guideline, not as a clipboard one, which sort of gets in the way of your connection with your customer. Okay. And then, of course, mind stories, worst experience, best experience, and the average experience, so that you get to know your person's experience in totality. Okay. So I think we're just out of time, Sukrat, with this. How many unanswered questions do we have?
So we have a couple of them in the chat, and for this we have 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
3, but really descriptive questions. So I think we
Right.
should take them up at a more slower pace.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll forward them to you so we can answer them in our own time,
Sure.
and we'll notify those people also.
Okay, sounds very good. Thank you so much, folks, for all these interesting questions and for sharing your feedback, being so active in this course, and also by being participative in this live session also. Thank you so much for that. I would highly recommend that you post your questions on the discussion forum. I actively monitor it and love some of the questions that you ask. And rest assured, we will answer all your questions that you have asked and we have not answered in this discussion, the live session also. Okay. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thanks, Prat and Shyam, for making this happen and all the background effort that went in. Thanks a lot. Thanks to the NPTEL team for taking this away.
Thank you.
Okay, take care, everyone. Bye. Bye, everyone.